Okay, traders, welcome to tonight's webinar. Tonight it's August 16th, 2018. Okay, before we get started, I have to read our disclaimer. So, trading futures and foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. A high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to trade foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your monetary objectives, your level of experience, and your risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your deposited funds, and therefore you should not speculate with capital that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent advisor if you have any doubts. Past returns are not indicative of future results. Forex is not licensed to give investment advice. We do not give buy, hold, or sell recommendations. The Forex software system and our trainings are for educational purposes only. Do not trade with money that you cannot afford to lose. Okay, so I wanted to go over a couple of things here. First thing I wanted to do was go over the some of the trade plans that we've been putting out here. I'm just going to go over a couple of these pairs. I'm going to go over the Euro New Zealand, and let's just take a look at a couple of these others. I'm going to take a quick little shot of that and bring up my software. And I would assume that everybody can see my screen. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so let's start with, we're going to start with the Euro Yen, but I was working on my level counts here quickly. I was just going to go over this real quickly, but you know, when you guys go through the training in our member site, counting the levels, okay, it's important. If you want to get a really good idea of what a pair may do in the next, within the next couple of days, you count the levels. So in the video, in our member site, counting the levels, okay, I talk about this. I talk about there are 3 distinct levels of rise and 3 levels of drop that pretty much are guaranteed, okay, in one way or another. They do it very tricky. They're very tricky in the way that they do it, and sometimes they can take several days to continue into a level, right? But as you know, if you've watched the video on counting the levels, what I suggest that you do is you start with the 1 hour time frame. You can do it on the 4 hour time frame also. It's not that big of a deal. But basically, to count a level, you need to start out with identifying your peak high, the highest point on the chart, and the low. So here at this point, this was the low of the chart. This is the high. Okay, here's a high level. Here's a low level. So there's where you start your counts. Okay. Now, to do that, the next step is to draw yourself a little box. I like to use this this color here, but you can use any color you want. But you want to draw a little box that is representative of the average daily range. In this case, the average daily range on the pound yen is 124 pips, okay? So what you do is you take and you draw a little box like this, okay? And then you can grab the corner, and you can see here, as I scroll it up and I scroll it down, you can see there it's 166 pip, 162, 67, 177. So you would want to make a box representative of roughly 124 pips. So that's about 125 pips, 125 pips right there. So you draw, that's your first step, is you draw a little box. The little box is the same height as the ADR, which is 124 pips. Then what I like to do is I take that rectangle and then I make it visible on the 4 hour and the 1 hour only. That's all I'm really concerned with. Now I've already drawn my boxes here and I've already started laying them out. So I started with my first box. Let's just say I put start a box at this low level here. So I put a box here, and then what I did was I copied it. Once you select it like that, let me go back. So I'm going to take this level right here. This was a clear level 3 because it hit this point and then it chopped for about 2 weeks. So I started my count here. Now, I would have just taken the box and set it here at this point, and then I would have slid it over, and then I would have taken the box and duplicated it, and I set another one here, and then I set another one here, and then this one, this is what I call, this one here is still would be what I call a level 2, okay, and then this spike down here, and then it made a level 3. Then I would take my little text here, and I'd make a level, start out with a level 1, just so I can identify the boxes. And again, I only show it on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame. Okay, I've already made mine here. So this is what I call this is what I usually have. I have a level 1, level 2, level 3. I have what's called a reset, and then I also have what's called a peak formation, okay? Peak formation is really a level 4, but it's significant if it gets past 3 levels, okay? That's where the peak comes. So I can see clearly at this point here, I'm calling this level 3 because I can see already there's 3 levels of rise. So what I'm going to do is take and put this level 3 there, and I'm going to make a copy of that, and I'm going to put it down here. That's level 3. Now, this is level 1. Level 1. I select that. And now this is level 2. It's level 3. Now, it couldn't go any higher. Then it started to cycle down. So now, there's level 1. This is level 2. This is level 3. Sometimes it doesn't, it's kind of hard to get them to, when you got these lines in here. Let me hide these lines, maybe that'll help. So I'm going to turn this into a level 3. So this, again, that's level 3. This is level 3. You see, level 3, level 1, level 2, level 3. Okay, level 1, level 2. This is actually my level 3. Now this is what I call peak formation high, okay, or the 4th level, right? Peak high. Okay, so we had level 1, level 2, okay? Now, when a pair cycles back up and interacts and rises above the 200 EMA like this, okay, now that's what we can see, and then starts to cycle down, that's what we call a reset, okay? Reset, and then you could count potentially 3 more levels of drop, right? Let's count. See what it's done this last couple weeks, right? There's level 1, level 2, level 3. Again, where are we at now? Well, I'd say this is peak formation low, right? So where are we at? What can we expect? Well, we can expect a rise at least somewhere up here to this 200 EMA. And if you look at larger time frames, we already have a hook on the daily, right? So this pair had come down quite a bit, okay, over the course of the last couple weeks. We had a huge run. And then it basically just stopped. Actually, the last big move, I think, was Monday or Tuesday, and now it's just chopping. Now, another way you can identify that we're in a level 3, okay, and that a reversal, okay, is imminent, is by the choppiness of the pair. So you can see. So here is level 3, peak formation high, chop, 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 chop. This identifies a potential reversal. They're collecting contracts, okay? They're collecting contracts. They're getting ready to take it forward. So what did they do? They went down level 1, level 2, and they chopped around here for, again, this is a week. This is 1 week, right? This is another week. They came out, started the week, they cycled up, and then they just started hitting it down, hitting it hard going down, right? So by counting these levels and putting these boxes here like this, you can get a pretty good idea of what to anticipate, right? And if you can get caught, if you're in a level 3, okay, and you know you're in a level 3, you can expect to get 3 levels of drop at least, right? And in this case, 3 levels of drop of 125 pips is what, almost 400 pips, right? So counting the levels, and I've done this, I think I did this a couple of weeks ago. I showed you an example of how to do this. I wanted to go back and retouch on this a little bit before I got too much into the analysis of these trading plans that we put out. But right now, pretty much all of the pairs are chopping right now. And we don't really have, see now here they went down an extra level even, right? It's not perfect. It's not a perfect science by any means, right? But it happens more often than not if you take the time and try to count, try to figure out which way they're gonna go next. At least you're gonna have, okay, a next day's directional bias on the currency pair that you're stocking, right? Now, again, we are in level 3, and I expect some continual rise. Now on this pound yen, let's test, I'll go back down here to the daily time frame here, and let me zoom out or zoom in. This pair came down and down and down until it dropped and it bounced right at this round number, right? How many of us would have been, we'd be looking pretty good if we had paid attention to this number. A couple of you guys emailed me and said that you were in this trade still. That's great. I'm happy, very happy. But this was, let's see, this is Thursday. This is Wednesday. That's right. So the pair actually bounced from on Tuesday. It hit this large quarter point. What was the high on that? The high on that was 142.47. You can see right down here, right? High 142.47 to a low of 139.89. So, and this number is 140. So that's, I mean, it came down about 10 pips below that, but it turned around and bounced. And it's just been chopping and rising slowly, right? So I still expect this pair potentially to rise, all right? This is what I'm looking for tonight. Okay. Now, as far as counting the levels, if anybody has any questions, okay, if you don't understand what I did and how I did this, you can just watch this video again. I'm recording this, so, or you can take and watch the video counting the levels, okay, in the member site, okay. They don't teach this stuff everywhere, guys. I mean, nobody really teaches this stuff, okay. I learned it, and I'm passing it on to you, right? But it's up to you guys to try to mark up your charts like I done here. And maybe if you have questions and you don't understand, just email me or post, send me an image and I'll respond to whether you're right or where you're at, whether you're wrong on it, right? But it can be a real helpful tool to get you at least in the mindset, okay, of what the market makers are doing, okay, so you can be prepared. How many people are, I mean, can you imagine how many people are thinking, I want to go short, I want to go short. This thing dropped a lot, I want to go short. And I did talk to you guys, I showed you this website that I use that helps to here for you. There's this really cool website that I use. It's called, let's see here, Dukascopy. And you can check Dukascopy here. This Dukascopy shows buyer sentiment. This is new money coming in to the Forex. Look at this. Pound yen, plus 42%. Okay, 46, 47, 42. 5 days ago, it was actually a week ago, this was at 25, 30, 35. I was monitoring this. Now it's at 42, 47, 46. So there's a lot of new money coming in to buy, okay, the pound yen, right? So you can, and I'll just pass this link on to you guys if you want. You can always keep that in your little arsenal. So let me see here. We got a question. How do you know that's the high? If you were to go back a few more days, there could be a higher high. Well, yeah, that's true. I don't know if it's going to be the high. I'm just looking at what I see based off of prior. I start with the prior time frames, okay, and I look for the highest highs and the highest lows, okay. I'm sorry, the highest highs and the lowest lows, and that's where I start my level count, and that way I get a basic idea, okay, if what I'm seeing actually coincides with my level count. So what he's talking, okay, it doesn't pick up, I don't know, it's not listening to me, right? It shuts off my headset and I have to keep powering it off and on. So the question is, if you were to go back a few more days, there could be a higher high. Well, I mean, I've gone back. I mean, here we go. Peak of 1, 2, 3. Had a level 4. Would be a peak low. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Peak. 1, 2. reset, 1, 2, 3, peak, right? I mean, I can go back. I've done this before, and I can go back and put the boxes all the way back. And sure, there might be an extra level here or there, but if you do this exercise, okay, all you're doing is you're just getting a basic bias, okay, for which way you want to be looking to trade the pair for the next day or so. And if you focus on, and if you can identify when you're in a level 3 or in a peak formation high, okay, then, a lot of times you can catch these moves that are going to produce 3 levels of rise, or at least, 2 or 3 levels of rise. Does that make sense, Charles? That makes sense, Charles? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not, like I said, I mean, it's not the holy grail, okay? It's just another tool in your toolbox, right? Now, I mean, 125 pips is nothing to sneeze at, right? So, anyway, so let's go and take a look at the euro yen, because that was the pair that I wanted to talk about in our trade plans here. So I said that looking at the euro yen, there's a strong downtrend in place. Set a sell alarm at 125, 125.10. Well, I mean, it really didn't do anything. Again, let's go back here to the 1 hour time frame. And this was it was right here where, right during this session here, is where I called it, or I mean, where I put the trade plans out, 125.10, 125.10. Okay, so I was expecting it to drop. Well, it didn't. It's just bouncing along with the other yen pairs, the pound yen, the euro yen, the CAD yen. I mean, they're all basically doing the same thing, right? They're just chopping. They're all in level 3. Okay. Looking at that, you do the same level count like I showed you, right? I mean, we already have a hook on the daily time frame. It's chopping. It's clear level 3. I'd be looking for any reason when it comes back down here to this large quarter point. If it comes back down here, I'd be looking to buy it again because it's channeling. It's been channeling for the last week, right? I mean, let's take a look at the scanner. Not a whole lot of movement this week. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs now that are averaging at least 100 pips a day. You remember I made a comment last week. I said that there's only 3 pairs that are averaging at least 100 pips a day, right? Well, now we have more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs, right? So we may start getting some trends. We might start getting some more movement after this huge drop in the yen pairs over the course of this last week, right? Last 2 weeks, there is always going to be a time of consolidation. And we just have, it's kind of difficult to trade it, consolidations like this, except the only way you can do it is try to identify these consolidations, these channels, which, I always say, there's always, there's 2 things that, I mean, pairs are either trending or they're oscillating, right? They can be trending on the larger time frames and they can be oscillating on the smaller time frames. Right now, the trend is currently down, okay, on the monthly and the weekly, right? And you can draw a trend line on this euro yen and you can see that, there's a channel here. So somewhere down here, we could potentially find the bottom, but But right now the pair's just oscillating, and it's catching its breath is what it's doing, right? It's catching its breath. So when times like this, we identify that, you're on a level 3. Okay, you can trade both ways in a level 3. You can buy and you can sell, because usually these oscillations are fairly large, right? As I showed on the pound yen, it's about 180 pips the channel. So there's plenty of room. So once it gets up here to this hesitation zone, look for potential sell. If it's not, unless of course, you see the pound is strong right now. The euro is a little strong too. Yen's about the same, so that's why they're not going anywhere. Okay, so Thrall says on the scanner, it says a blue WDR and WDC. Is that a typo? Oh, let's take a look. Blue WDR. I don't know what. I don't see what you're talking about. It's weekly net range, weekly net change. Huh? Is that what you're talking about, Charles? You want to come on and talk and let me know? Down at the bottom. Yes, that's a typo. Weekly, yeah, that's a typo. You got it. Yeah, I need to get that changed. But basically, weekly net range, weekly net means 3-day. Let's see here. Well, let's see here. Let me try to reduce the size of this text. Maybe I can. Well, I'm going to worry about it. Weekly net range. If these turn blue, like for instance, you've probably noticed that today's daily range. If it turns blue at the end of the day, that means that the average, the ADR has been exceeded. And I like to look at this particularly at the start of the New York session. A quick glance will tell me that if it's blue, that it's past the average daily range, okay? And if it's like 20, 30 pips, 40 pips past the average daily range, okay, and it's blue, then I know that's good for at least 25 to 30, maybe 40 pips, okay, as the pair cycles back up during the New York session, right? After a big drop where during the New York session, during the New York session is when I'm looking for an intraday bounce going into the end of the day. But I look at the today's daily range. If it turns blue, that means it's the ADR is surpassed. If it's surpassed by 20, 30, 40 pips, okay, then that's when I'm zeroing in, because I'm wanting to hit the low of the day and try to make 25 or 30 pips, okay, back into the daily range. Now, if the weekly net range, if it turns blue, okay, that means it's surpassed 3 times the average daily range for the week, which represents a level 3, okay? Does that make sense? Everybody understand? So I'll say it, one more time. If this turns blue, okay, the weekly net range, okay, turns blue, that means that it's 3 times the average daily range for the week, and the market makers will not move a pair more than 3 times the average daily range without some major reversal, right? So right now, okay, none of these pairs have, right? I mean, the weekly net range on this, how cool is that, right? So pound New Zealand, okay, let's take a look here. Biggest one is the biggest mover for the week, okay, this week, pound yen, 258 pips from the high of the week to the low of the week. But guess what? It's only moved 28 pips to change. So you could have been in this trade all week long, got in it Sunday night, stayed in it till tonight, and you'd only be up 27 pips, 28 pips, right? Pairs are oscillating, right? But if you look at the monthly, this is where I'm saying, okay, a pair is either trending or it's oscillating. It can be trending on the larger time frame, okay, but it can be oscillating on a smaller time frame. Right now, we're in an oscillation. The pair, the pound yen, okay, has a monthly net range of 725 pips, but it's moved down from the start of the month minus 577 pips, right? Yearly net range, 1,671 pips, yearly net change. It has dropped over the course of the year 1,000 pips from the start of the year. Pretty cool, huh? Anyways, that's how, that's how you read this. And if you pay attention to this, when you get up during the start of the New York session, and you're tired, just open your scanner, look for a pair that's overextended itself. It's within, 10, 15 pips of the low of the day. Zero in on that pair. Wait for it to either cycle up one more time or cycle down one more time, because with the daily cycle, they're always going to retrace off of the high of the day or off the low of the day and end the day in consolidation, right? All right. So let's see here. As far as the euro yen was concerned, it's just chopping. It's just chopping. So we just have to, be aware. So that also said, let's take a look at the New Zealand dollar. Well, I know the New Zealand dollar, the trend is down. Again, we put these out, okay? It's based off of the trends, right? It's based off the trends. The only pair really that, all the yen pairs are doing the same thing. They're just chopping. Euro yen, pound yen. New Zealand dollar, okay, that was another one I wanted to take a look at. Take a look at the New Zealand dollar. Well, here we got our weekly chart. And the trend's down, right? It's trending on the weekly, right? Here's the daily. Here's the daily, right? It's chopping, and I can see clearly here, I can probably see 3 levels of drop. Yep. 1, 2, 3. We're in level 3 on New Zealand dollar. The trend's still down. All it's going to take is some dollar strength. However, I read today that the Chinese are coming to the negotiating table, Donald Trump, to see about making a deal. So that'll be interesting to see. That'll be interesting to see what happens here in this next week. But here's the 1 hour time frame on the New Zealand dollar. Okay, this is just chopping. But it's actually risen about, the last 2 days, it's risen about 100, it's about 80 pips, not too much. Yeah, 60 pips. This isn't a big mover, but if you take a look at the other New Zealand pairs, like the pound New Zealand or the euro New Zealand, okay, they actually have a few more. They move a few more pips. Let's see here. Is there any questions on this? Is there anything anybody would like me to discuss before I turn it over to Ben? You guys have been sending me some nice compliments and emails. I really appreciate that. And we try to work hard for you guys. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the dollar CAD. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate that. Always helps when I get a little feedback from you guys. Dollar CAD. Okay, well, trends up. Daily up. CR TDI. It's open, right? But we're getting up here to the 68. That's the daily time frame. Here's the weekly. Got this channel here. And we could end up cycling all the way back up here, right? Which for a total of somewhere around 260 pips. Take a look at the 4 hour, still cycling up. Now, we do have a potential fresh hook on the cross at the green RSI line over the red trade signal line. Okay, but you know, it could continue to rise for a little bit, definitely. You know, it's called the loonie for a reason, right? Chop, 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 chop. Some doesn't really make any really nice, you know, patterns. You know, not like the I mean, the typical pattern, like I have put out a couple of days. I made a flashcard on you know, the pound yen, and also made one on the euro yen. There were some really good entries coming out of the. I'm gonna mute everybody. Sorry, Garth. Sorry, Garth. Asian accumulation session came out of the range, did a stop hunt high and a drop. There was two beautiful ones here. This one here, Asian accumulation session, actually extended it fairly high, made a beautiful reversal. These are the best times, guys, to look for the trades right here. About 75% of the time, if you go back to your charts, you can see these are the right times of the day, right, to catch at least, you know, 50, 75 pips, right? Right here. Asian accumulation session, boom, boom, boom. Made a big, took about 2 hours, right? Big fat W pattern, and away it dropped, right? So, like I said, right now we're in level 3 on the pound yen, just chopping, just chopping. Oh, and you want to look at the euro pound, okay? Yeah, already, I think I was looking at that. The euro pound. Okay. So, well, here's the euro pound. Trends up. Trends is definitely up. But like I said, it can be pair can be trending on the larger time frames, but it can be oscillating on the smaller time frames, and that's what it's doing. It's typical this time of the year, guys. It's probably one of the hardest times of the year to make money in the Forex. Just trade with smaller positions. Don't just realize that it's a slow time of the year, right? So just get ready for September and October. That's when we're going to have some really nice trends. Okay. Any more questions? Ben, you're on deck. So are you ready? Is there any more questions, guys?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Charles. Thanks, Christopher. Appreciate that greatly. Okay, let me stop my share. Go ahead, Ben.
All righty, guys. Not a bad week so far. If you guys were in UCAD, you would have hit take profit twice, it seems, as it dipped down and came back up. Joe, I know we're supposed to be showcasing demos. However, my demo, for some reason, it's getting that waiting on updates. It hasn't loaded all week for me on my computer. I don't know what's going on with it. So
What hasn't?
My demo account, the charts won't load on it. Can you see my screen now?
Talk to me about it after the webinar. I'll help you out.
All right. So, you guys, I am also watching EJ. You know, it's Thursday. We've had a little bit of movement here and there, but we've seen a lot of choppiness. I mean, even EJ, you can look on the 15-minute from, you know, Asian to London to New York. It's been like in a 60 pip chop, 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 chop range, right? Now, the thing that caught my eye with the EJ is, yeah, it did hit this large quarter. That was a good call that Joe put out for you guys on that. Good trade plan. It did cycle up. Now, it's been hitting this little area here, and I want to show you guys what it's hitting. So it was in this down channel for the longest time, okay? It came out of it, the euro was strong for a while, right? And then it started cycling back down, and then it started dropping down the levels, right? Dropping down, okay? Well, now it's made its way back into this channel, right? So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, we're on the 5th day of it trying to break not only this channel, but trying to break the 126,750 level, right? We do have what looks like it's starting to be a hook, but the thing that's catching my eye is the fact that it hasn't been able to break out of this down channel it's gotten caught in. So if it continues to hold and the euro becomes weak and the yen becomes strong and the dollar goes weak like it is, at that point, I would be open to possibly getting in and selling this pair. You know, maybe even just back down to this large quarter, right? Because, I mean, we look over the last, week and a half, we haven't seen a whole lot of movement as it is. But, I'm just going to watch it. I'm going to come back on towards the end of Asian and kind of see where everything's at. The Chef JPY already hit take profit 1. The EuroCAD is another one. I actually made notes on EuroCAD last night. It hasn't really moved a whole lot, not really where I want it yet. So the EuroCAD, let me fix my windows here. All right, so the EuroCAD on the H4, I still haven't cleaned up my chart from when I was making my presentations. But obviously we were in a downtrend for a while, right? We had this consolidation for weeks, it seemed like. And then it dropped, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, basically. It hit the hesitation zone here. Well, actually came closer to the quarter below it, right? Started stalling out and back up she went. Now, when I looked on the daily, I noticed that we had this trend line from way back here, right? All the way back from February of last year, and it also lined up perfectly with the 800 EMA on the daily, right? I wish I would have really been watching a little closer at the beginning of the week. Now, but getting back into EuroCAD, we have hit the 50 on the 4-hour. We are below the 800. We're below the 2. All the EMAs are telling us to sell, okay? What I would like to see is I would like to see this make it back up to the major round number and see how it reacts, okay? If it's able to break through it, then I might look for a reason to buy it, maybe up into here. If it's not able to break through it, I might be looking for a reason to sell it, back into here. I am going to be a little extra cautious tonight. There is some high impact CAD news in the morning, so we know that could we could be 30, 40 pips of profit, and negative high impact news comes out and it could blow us out of the water and shoot up 200 pips. So, and then last on my list, so I went over ECAD, we went over EJ. So again, I guess to top off EuroCAD, the 800 EMA is not too far away from the major round number. So if it just chopped a little bit during Asian and then it came out of Asian and it gave us a nice little M pattern or something, pinning the 800 and the major round number, and CAD picks up strength and Euro's weak, I'd have no problem selling it at that point. So keep your eyes open there, guys. And then the last one that I wanted to look at here, GCAD, I've been following this week. Oh, I have this set up. Hold on one second, guys. I have this set up for my big, when I have it stretched across all my screens here. I didn't fix it. All right, so GCAD, I've been watching it, but it hasn't really done a whole heck of a lot, okay? Especially like this week, you can see it's just been stuck in this little range here, right? Now the daily, we did have a cross, okay? We're really just sitting right here on this large quarter. So, I mean, I'd like to see, we have a little shoulder potentially, right, ahead. I like to see it maybe fiddle around on the large quarter and then give us an opportunity to potentially buy it. But really right now I'm sitting on my hands because if you look at the GCAD, okay, we can take off this high here. Okay, so we're pretty much right at the top of this little down channel it's been in, okay? It's been in this channel since, mid-July. It's been going down, okay? So if it breaks out and it breaks the top of the channel and it breaks the large quarter and then it retests and it fails to go back in, we could be in for a buy. If the channel holds, we could be in for a sell. So I definitely like to pair this up with the ECAD, depending on how the strength and everything and the technicals are looking. So keep your eyes peeled. I know, Joe, you're watching EJ too, so that's good. So we're watching EJ, we're watching the ECAD, and we're watching the pound CAD. But that's my 3 focus pairs for tonight, Joe.
Okay, Ben, thank you very much for that. One last thing I wanted to go over was the boot camp that we're going to be starting. I posted it in the Rocket Chat. Okay, this is a special program that Ben and Avo have agreed to come and work with you guys. They're going to give you private mentoring. They're going to work with you. They're going to go over all of these topics here, fundamentals, mistakes and traps, price action and top-down analysis, support and resistance, supply and demand, divergence. I mean, these are all important things that kind of go beyond the scope of what we teach. And it's $1,295, and we're going to start this class next week. And so there's a link on our member site at MM4X here. If you go to mm4x.com and you go to our sales page, there's a link there where you can subscribe. Now it's very limited. We're not taking very many people. It's just for the ones that want a little additional help. And many of you said that, you'd like us to try this. And so this is what we're, I don't know why my computer just seems so slow. Does anybody else does it take a while for people to be able to get into the website? Let me know if it's just me. So boot camp right here, just click on that link, okay? And you can subscribe. Trevor talks about it. Ben talks about it here. You can subscribe. And our plan is to start this next week. So if you're interested, please sign up for it. And trust me, it's going to be worth it. I mean, there's lots of programs out there, okay, that charge a lot more than what we're going to charge for this, but it's going to be well worth it. So deadline's looming, guys. Let's see here. Any questions at all, guys? Did anybody got any questions? Okay, guys. Well, I want to thank everybody for attending tonight's webinar. And, take it easy. Like I said, the pairs are choppy. things aren't moving. I mean, all of a sudden something could happen and the pair can, you know, shoot up or shoot down pretty substantially. Okay. I think that's one of the big reasons why the pound yen and the other pound pairs, okay, are just chopping so much, okay, is because we had such a huge move last week, right? So just realize that's where we are in the market. Nothing we can do about it. Just be prepared and learn, right? As far as your question on that euro pound, Christopher, look for a buy. I'm sorry, just set a pending order for a sell with the software, right? Set a pending order for a sell with the software about 10 pips or so away from that large quarter point. So that's 48 pips away. So just put a pending order for a sell at let's say 45 pips. Push a pending order. I've got to put on auto trading. That's what I need to do. Okay, click yes. Put a pending order for sell. Make sure your expert advisor settings are, you know, what defined however you want it, right? If you want to trade off a fixed based lot size or risk based, you probably would want to also you know, set your add-ons. This pair doesn't move that much, so you could set your add-ons to, you know, every 10 pips or so, right? Make sure that you turn off, okay, add-on minus true. So you can see here, add-on minus set to true, add-on plus sets to true. That means if it goes against you, it'll add on every 10 pips. So if you don't want it to do that, okay, then turn off auto add-on minus to false, okay? And that way, if you get stopped out, you're only gonna get, you're gonna have 50 pips, right? You get stopped out, but it's not gonna keep adding on additional positions. But if you're right and it bounces, then it'll add on every 10 pips going down, right? Play the bounce. We could get a bounce off this major round number very easily. It's done it. Well, this is a weekly chart. It's a very significant price zone here. For the last month, 2 months, it's bounced every time it's got up there. So why wouldn't it do it? Why wouldn't it do it again? Take a look at TDI. Is way overextended, way past 68, up to getting up there. So, you know, that could be a good pending order for you guys. If nothing else, guys, you owe it to yourself to do it in a demo account. What's really nice about setting these pending orders, as long as you leave your software running, you don't have to be up for the entry. It just takes the entry and the software manages your trade. That's the beauty of our software, guys. Take advantage of it. Okay, everybody, I want to thank everybody for attending tonight's webinar, and we will see you again on next Tuesday night. Thanks, everybody.